You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, where you'll find out what the Fukushima's going on.
And welcome to our show today. It is Monday, February 8th, 2021, start of a brand new week of utter chaos and insanity. And we've got a lot to talk about today. Mike is in our control room, twiddling the dials and keeping us out of trouble. And as usual, we're going to do news until we run out of news, and then we're going to open up the phone lines for your comments, questions, opinions, and observations here. Now, yesterday was Super Bowl Sunday, and I will admit I did not watch. I'm not a big fan of Super Bowl unless I've got one of my commercials running on there, which is long in the past, unfortunately. What's really interesting, though, is they're already screaming racism. Apparently, Tom Brady, according to this article in Summit News, Tom Brady is being called racist for winning the Super Bowl during Black History Month. And at this point, we would cue the laugh track over how silly all of this stuff really has become. Now, on a more serious note, of course, Trump's second impeachment trial starts tomorrow in the Senate. And, pardon me, the House has charged Trump with incitement of insurrection for his supposed role back on January 6th during the Capitol protests. Trump's lawyers and the House impeachment managers have exchanged another round of pretrial legal briefs today. The Democrats are pushing back on the Trump team's claims the trial is unconstitutional, so it's still moving forward. Now, Senate leaders are working on an agreement that would give each side up to 16 hours to present their cases and the potential for a debate and voting on calling witnesses. Now, what's going on, there seems to be two schools of thought on the Democratic side. One school of thought is they want to call in as many witnesses as they can and just drag this on out and try and make their case as hard as they can. The other school of thought is to not allow witnesses at all and try and get this over with as quickly as possible, because it doesn't look like the Senate is going to vote to convict Donald Trump, and it's going to be another huge embarrassment for the Democrats, who have spent all this time and effort and money on this second impeachment trial to get Donald Trump out of office, which he no longer occupies anyway, while the country succumbs to coronavirus, a crumbling economy, and a failed foreign policy. Okay, so they're looking at maybe their bid to call witnesses, including the QAnon shaman with his horns and everything. That may not even happen at all. Okay, now here is where it gets interesting. This is coming out of the Daily Mail. The impeachment prosecutors plan to prove that Trump incited the Capitol riots with a video juxtaposing the former president's remarks with scenes from the chaos around the Capitol building. Okay, this is their main punch here. And here's the problem. Once you edit a video, you've lost the context, and you've also lost the assurance that you're getting an accurate view. Now, I've edited video for a good part of my career, and I know with a good edit, we could make Jeff Epstein look like an absolute saint, and Mother Teresa look like a video fit for a melodrama, a villain fit for a melodrama. And so I imagine that what they're working on is a very creative editing job. But I'm hoping the senators are going to realize once that video is edited, it's a presentation. It's not evidence. So that's all they've got. They've got a presentation here. The president's defense, however, have come up with their own video in which they basically show the Democrats who voiced support for the rioters and the looting and the vandalism in multiple cities last summer. So that's going to be the other side of the coin. It will be an interesting little circus to watch. Get your popcorn and your diet soda and be ready to go. Now, apparently everybody's afraid that the American people have had enough of this impeachment nonsense, and apparently they are fortifying Washington, D.C. National Guard is everywhere. Permanent barricades are now being put up. There's razor wire all over our capital city. And it's insane. This doesn't look like the United States of America anymore, does it? I remember when I was a kid, when Washington, D.C. was this beautiful, white, just pantheon of the constitutional republic. And now it looks like a war zone over there. Rand Paul is out there saying that if you use the Democrats' logic, then Chuck Schumer should be impeached as well. Maxine Waters was inciting violence back in 2016. Let's impeach her as well. Same thing with Hillary Clinton. She was inciting violence after she lost in 2016. Yes, they're out of, well, Maxine Waters is still in office, but Hillary's out of office. But hey, that's not going to stop us. Let's go ahead and impeach. Okay, now the House of Representatives has stripped Marjorie Taylor Greene from 2 committees over her history of promoting conspiracy theories, like the fact that the election may not have been honest. These are the same people that are claiming Russia was behind the Capitol riots. Okay, so House members, little wake-up call, you can't have it both ways. If Russia was behind the Capitol riots, then Donald Trump is off the hook. Okay? Not that we have ever expected rational, logical thinking from politicians, but it would be a fresh change of pace to see it here. Meanwhile, it has turned out that Proud Boys leader Enrique Tarrio, who basically helped usher the protesters into the Capitol, is a prolific FBI informant. He's an undercover operative, and we've seen the FBI do this so many times before. They'll have one of their informants, they'll give them money and materials, and they'll organize a gang and then do something that's newsworthy here. And apparently one of the other Proud Boys leaders has been kicked loose from jail just today because they just don't want to protect the infrastructure, as it were. A lot of people have been talking about this article that appeared in Time magazine, and I think it was originally written to say that everything about the election worked out well. We had a happy result. Stop asking questions about it. But apparently a lot of people are looking at this piece. It's called The Secret History of the Shadow Campaign that saved the 2020 election, meaning saved it for Joe Biden. And it basically details an extensive network of powerful and wealthy people who ran a shadow campaign to get Biden elected. But they're being portrayed as heroes, and we're supposed to applaud. Oh, my goodness, they saved the country from another 4 years of Donald Trump. And far from hiding what they did, they want credit for their actions. They want to stand up on the stage and have the follow spot on them and take their bows before the American people. And they actually think the corporate media can sell this to the public. I don't think so. All right, over at UNS.com, Paul Craig Roberts has got another article that, the November election was stolen. The evidence exists all over the place here. And, the official narrative is there was no election theft, and it's probably the biggest lie ever perpetrated on the world. It's right up there with 9/11 and torpedoes in the Gulf of Tonkin and Lusitania not catching weapons, Pearl Harbor being a surprise. It's a huge, huge lie. But if you don't go along with the lie, you get deplatformed and isolated and shunned, and how dare you, so forth and so on. So Paul Craig Roberts is out there detailing more and more of the evidence the election was stolen. Okay, I want to go back over some of the numbers from the election here. And you may want to write this down, take notes. It's going to be a quiz next period. Trump reportedly got 74 million votes. So write down 74 million. Biden supposedly got 81 million votes. All right. Now, 74 million plus 81 million equals 155 million votes in the last election. There are only 133 million registered voters in the entire country. So you think about that one for a little while. Now, one of the talking points that you get from the corporate media is that none of the lawsuits that Donald Trump has brought regarding the election went anywhere. They were all dismissed, and a lot of them were dismissed without considering the actual merits. But of the 22 cases that were actually heard by the courts where the evidence was presented, Trump and his attorneys won 2/3 of them. This, according to citizen journalist John Droz Jr., who's a physicist and environmental advocate in North Carolina. Trump was winning the lawsuits. That's why they had to shut him down here. Another story, this one coming out of CNN, no less, and it's being presented as a negative. Apparently, state lawmakers across the country have filed more than 100 bills aimed at reforming election procedure and cleaning up this mess that we've got. But CNN is in there saying, oh, they're trying to limit voter access. They're trying to, prevent illegals from voting. And, the illegals should have a right to vote. And they're trying to bash them as hard as they can, which doesn't really matter because apparently CNN's ratings are in a tailspin right now. They're following Fox News down here. Okay, the Democratic majority in the House of Representatives drops to just 5 people. And after months of counts and recounts of the recount, Republican Claudia Tenney won the seat, beating Democrat Anthony Brindisi. Tenney held a thin 109-vote lead, and Oswego County Supreme Court Judge Scott Delaconte dismissed the motion by Brindisi to delay certification yet again. So the judge ordered the vote to be certified, therefore handing Republicans another House seat. So it's going to be very tense in the House of Representatives for the next 2 years at least. Former Clinton campaign advisor Dick Morris is out there looking at Dick Cheney and saying right now she has a snowball's chance in the infernal regions at ever getting reelected because of her decision to impeach former President Donald Trump. And Morris said that allowing Cheney to remain in leadership positions shows how out of touch the party's leaders are with their base. And he's certainly right on that one. Donald Trump Jr. is going to go to Wyoming to campaign against Liz Cheney after she voted to impeach Donald Trump. So he's going to be lending his celebrity status and value to that contest as well. All right. Apparently last Saturday, protesters, Antifa members, and Black Lives Matter marched through Washington, D.C., threatening to burn the city down. And to show you just how twisted this is, the issue is Black Lives Matter has actually been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, which I think is an insult to the Nobel Peace Prize. But they were marching through Washington, D.C., basically saying that if they don't get what they want, which is the Nobel Peace Prize, they're going to basically burn the city down. Please don't burn down the National Archives or the Air and Space Museum because I still want to visit those. Twitter has now indefinitely suspended Gateway Pundit account. And they did so after Gateway Pundit announced that more videos of the TCF Center election fraud were going to be released in the coming days. So make a point of checking in with Gateway Pundit and see what's up there because more of those videos are coming. And last Friday, you probably saw it already, the Gateway Pundit released exclusive video showing late night deliveries of tens of thousands of votes to the TCF Center hours after the deadline to turn in absentee ballots. And the absentee ballots were counted before Election Day. The only absentee ballots they had left to count came from the Zuckerberg boxes that were checked hourly. So there's going to be more about that. And as usual, social media is trying to keep you from finding out about that because, you will believe the election was honest. You will believe the election is honest. No, I don't. Apparently, Gateway Pundit founder Jim Hoft is also permanently banned from Twitter. And conservative radio host Wayne Allen Root's account is also suspended. I haven't checked to see if I've been suspended, but then I haven't used Twitter in years, so wouldn't make any difference anyway. Interesting little propaganda twist, if you will. This is coming from Domagood. Conservatives and Trump supporters who are getting censored are now being accused of spreading disinformation for saying they are being censored. Let me run that one by you one more time. Conservatives and Trump supporters who are being censored are being accused of spreading disinformation for saying they are being censored. So that's how weird the propaganda is getting out there. Story coming on out from Investment Watch blog. We've been hearing about this a lot, but there is renewed speculation that Trump will begin his own media platform. And by golly, I'm certainly going to send him a resume. Okay, getting into COVID-19, it's still out there. It's still being politicized. It's still all kinds of stuff here. As COVID-19 vaccines raise hope, cold reality dawns that illness is likely here to stay. This is coming from the Wall Street Journal. And they're talking about, the vaccination drives are holding out the promise of curbing COVID-19, but governments and scientists are saying, no, there are all these new variations out there. The vaccines aren't going to work. You're going to have to get a new shot every year for COVID the way you do for the flu. It's a big, big, big moneymaker. It really is here. Story coming on out from USA Today. Teachers are still afraid of COVID-19, but more and more of the teachers are joining the call to open the schools and get back to classroom learning. And, the parents certainly would like that to happen. The teachers want it to happen. The teaching is more effective in a classroom. This virtual learning really hasn't worked at all. The reason they call it remote learning is there is only a remote chance your kids are going to learn anything useful. And it's time to get back to normal. The fact of the matter is that this COVID-19 death rate is about the same as the seasonal flu. And they don't close down the country for the seasonal flu. They never have here. Story, this is from Gilad Otzman. Talking about Israel's third lockdown, a spectacle of failure. Now, last week, the New York Times praised the Israeli mass vaccination experiment and saying it was the most extensive real-world test so far and demonstrated that a robust vaccination program can have a quick and powerful impact. Well, that is being countered by local radio reports in Israel saying that many people are dying following the Pfizer experimental mRNA injections. And apparently, this is coming from the Alliance for Human Research Protection, and basically saying that, we've been hearing stories about a lot of people in Israel getting into trouble. We had this story last week about this teenager in the ICU with an inflamed heart. And I think one area that there might be a problem when you get into this mRNA, okay, it's operating as if the DNA in every single patient is identical, and it is not. Or else we'd all look like each other, sound like each other, talk like each other, smell like each other. But it doesn't work that way. All right, international news. Over in Ukraine, Zelensky has now banned 3 pro-Russian TV channels, and apparently it happened after pro-Western President Volodymyr Zelensky signed a Ukrainian Security Council decree imposing sanctions for 5 years on 8 media and TV companies. So the media, the wall is coming down over there, not just here. The United Nations is describing the situation in Ethiopia's Tigray as now extremely alarming. Hunger is growing. They can't get humanitarian supplies in there. The fighting remains an obstacle to taking care of the place. We had that story last week where the church that is rumored to hold the lost Ark of the Covenant came under attack and hundreds of people were killed on that.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. We have a special promotion going on at Republic Broadcasting. This is a fundraiser for Republic Broadcasting involving the energy cleaner. Mail me a postcard. My address is at my website at thelibertyman.com. We pick a postcard every other Thursday. When your postcard is drawn out, you get to buy an energy cleaner for $215 instead of $285, $70 discount. $200 goes to Republic Broadcasting. You also get a 10% discount on my mattress pads. So get those postcards in, put your name, your telephone number, your email address on there, and when your postcard is drawn, you get to get an energy cleaner for $215 instead of $285. Mattress pads, 10% off. Help us out at Republic Broadcasting and help yourself to get an energy cleaner at a deep discount. It's a win-win situation for everybody. We hope you can get these postcards in soon. Thank you very much.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty.
Welcome back to our show here. And again, a friendly reminder and a nudge that Republic Broadcasting Network is going to continue keeping the American public fully informed so that they can make good choices. But to do that, we need your continuing support. And again, we certainly appreciate those of you who have donated. You have our heartfelt thanks and gratitude. And I wish I could say it was enough, but it isn't. We do need more to keep going, replace equipment, pay hosting fees, electric bills, things like that. So the postal address where you can send a check, money order, or if you prefer anonymity cash, is Republic Broadcasting Network, 2251 Double Creek Drive, number 302, Round Rock, Texas, 78664. The phone number where you can make a credit or debit card donation is 800-724-2719, extension 3. The network thanks you. And of course, all of that contact information can be found at the top of republicbroadcasting.org. which is a hip website. You really, really ought to be checking into that. All right, getting back to the international news, as you're already aware, farmers in India have been protesting for something like a month now over some of the new government policies that are going to hurt them. And apparently their latest tactic is to launch a nationwide highway blockade. Kind of a little inspiration from Mahatma Gandhi in there, I think. So tens of thousands of protesting farmers have blockaded highways across India as the United Nations called on authorities and protesters to exercise maximum restraint. Apparently, the farmers held a 3-hour chakka jam or road blockade on Saturday at about noon across the nation. So it's getting tense over there. The whole world is unhappy. Have you noticed that? Is there any place on this planet that isn't dealing with tremendous upset, and money junkyism and the rest of it? It's just horrible. If this is the new world order, man, it's just dead out of the gate here. All righty, over in Myanmar, a couple of days ago, they started blocking Facebook inside the country. They are now blocking Instagram and Twitter. They are very, very concerned that the government that was ousted following massive election fraud in the election is trying to find some way to come on back and return to power. So I hope the people who believe in honest elections will stand firm. But it is getting kind of rough over there. Myanmar police had to deploy a water cannon against protesters over there and who are not happy with how things are going, which we can certainly understand. Not being happy about how elections are being handled here. Okay, over in Iran, there seems to be a bit of a stalemate, or maybe you could call it an Iranian standoff, where each side wants the other to move first in terms of their obligations under the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. And Iran is saying, you go first, and the United States is saying, no, you go first, and it's back and forth here. And apparently, Iran's leader has basically said to Joe Biden, that Iran will only return to compliance with the nuclear deal only after Washington lifts sanctions, which I think is very reasonable when you recall that when the original P5+1 deal was signed, the United States didn't keep its promises about lifting sanctions. In fact, Congress turned around and imposed even more. So Iran is prudent in wanting to see, an actual good faith move on the part of the U.S. government, and the U.S. government is unfortunately saying, do what we do, don't do, do what we say, don't do what we do here. Another story here, this one coming out of elmanye.com. The U.S. is deploying the Israeli Iron Dome missile interceptor systems purchased back in 2019 in Eastern European countries and in the Gulf, where CENTCOM operates and has established military bases. And the question is up in the air, are these defensive moves or is it part of the preparation for war with Iran, which we know that everybody really wants? Okay, there is much wailing and cheering and gnashing of teeth and celebration here. The International Criminal Court in The Hague has finally approved the prosecutor's request to open legal proceedings regarding war crimes in the occupied Palestinian territories, including Gaza. And needless to say, the Israeli government has just gone totally ballistic, screaming that it's anti-Semitic, it's Jew hatred, it's the Hitler lovers in The Hague that are coming back. It's our enemies are conspiring against us, and just everything they can think of saying. Except about, nolo contender would probably be a good thing for Israel to be saying right about now. But the decision definitely angered Israel. Palestine is celebrating. Okay, we have to take another break for commercials, and we will be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll-free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
February is Heart Month. Every year for the month of February, to show our appreciation to Extendivite's faithful customers, we have a sale. If you would like to try Extendivite, now is the time to get a few months ahead and really give Extendivite the time to show you how it works. Most of Extendivite's long-term customers wait for this sale to stock up. People and doctors tell us about the unbelievable improvements that they have experienced in their overall health, not just the heart. Extendivite wants you to experience the power of these herbs. Get a 4-month supply for only $115 for either the capsules or tincture. Please take advantage of this once-per-year sale and get healthy for life. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or find us on Amazon.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
It's happening, ladies and gentlemen. We here at RBN are working with Front Sight Firearms Training Institute to bring our audience the best in combat, tactical, and defensive firearms training. Whether you're a private citizen who is new to firearms or you have a concealed weapon permit and want a level of training that surpasses what you've received from your local gun range, Front Sight provides priceless education and skills taught by seasoned law enforcement, military, and private citizen instructors to levels that far exceed law enforcement and military standard. With nearly 1 million responsible citizens trained from every town, city, and state from across the United States, Front Sight has bolstered the Patriot movement to a whole new level. Contact Dan Sutterfield by phone at 573-762-2356 or 573-465-2356 or shoot him an email at domedan, DOMEDAN, at hotmail.com. This is a limited time opportunity. Don't miss it.
Politicians and preachers once sometimes told the truth. We didn't throw war's first stone and sacrifice our finest youth. With no video games or cell phones, a house felt like a home. Children fought and played together instead of on a computer alone.
Welcome back to our show here, and in the show's past, website's past, we have talked about the deplorable state of America's modern weapon system, certainly versus the cost that the amount of money that's poured into them. Examples like the Gerald R. Ford, which still has its problems, the Freedom and Independence class littoral combat ships, the Zumwalt stealth destroyer, and on and on. And one of our favorite whipping boys, of course, remains the F-35. So there's this story that came out of Anti-Empire, and apparently there's an anonymous pilot of the F-35, which is now called the Panther. I thought it was called the Lightning II, but it's apparently called the Panther now. And they're saying, it's a very pretty cockpit, with all the touch screens and displays and everything, but it's not really workable. And some of the bells and whistles have landed with a thud. And there are systems in the plane that the pilots just won't even bother to use because of all the troubles they're having with them. So in the aviation magazine Hush Kit, there was an anonymous Panther pilot who basically described the cockpit and interface system. And he says, it is beautiful. It's full of screens that allow you to bring up an incredible amount of information. But it's it's one thing to be sitting there playing with all this stuff on the ground, and another to be trying to work with it when you're in a turn and burn, in the aerial furball. And apparently, one of the issues they have is the pilot misses the tactile feedback from flipping an actual switch. Very often, you're not looking at the switch, so the only clue that you have clicked it is feeling it, the switch, move. And he says you don't get that with the touch screens. And because of that, apparently something like 20% of the time they're using the touch screens, they're not actually connecting with what they intend to connect with. Now, forgive me for, second guessing our entire military industrial complex, but it strikes me that just having some kind of a transducer in the tip of the pilot's glove that will just give him a little tap to confirm that he has activated what he wants to activate is going to be a really good way to get around that particular problem. I don't know, maybe I should quit radio and go over and solve all the problems on the F-35 for them or something. All righty, turning to the economic news. Apparently, Tesla buys $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin and just drives the value to an all-time high. And people are saying, is it, an investment opportunity? And apparently not, because apparently at some point in the future, in the near future, Tesla will start accepting Bitcoin for their cars and other products. So apparently they're trying to build up Bitcoin as a viable alternative currency with which they intend to conduct business. And I think that's a really, really good thing. Okay, story coming on out of Forbes, no less. Apparently, Joe Biden is considering canceling all student loan debt by executive order. Now, this is one of the things Biden is doing that I like. These students got suckered into college with the promise of high-paying jobs on graduation. But, there are no high-paying jobs for people holding a degree in critical race theory. And college costs have skyrocketed completely out of sync with the rate of inflation. The availability of scholarships and other funding options has dried up. And so to go to college means putting yourself on that debt hook by the bankers. And these kids, they got taken advantage of. Okay, they got cheated. And so Joe Biden is considering student loan forgiveness by executive order. Now, I am not entirely sure if that's going to work, because technically an executive order is only enforceable and valid against the executive branch itself. And I don't think that banks necessarily are obliged to go along with an executive order from the White House. Now, somebody just sent me a photo of Jeff Foxworthy saying, if you write more executive orders than the days you've been in office, you might be a dictator. We all love Jeff Foxworthy. He's just funny as all heck. Apparently, House Democrats are getting ready to unveil an enhanced $3,000 child tax credit as part of the Biden relief package to lift families out of poverty. Now, I have a really good idea on how to lift American families out of poverty, stop spending trillions of dollars on the war machine, and put that money back to work in our economy, and things are going to get a lot better very, very quickly. But I think I just destroyed my possibility of working on the F-35. Getting on to immigration here. There's a story that came on from legalinsurrection.com, the Biden-induced border crisis where COVID meets catch and release. And last Friday, we talked about how Biden had reinstituted catch and release. In other words, they catch these people on this side of the border, they take down their name, give them a court date, and then they let them go. Okay? But what this article points out is that these people are not being tested for COVID. In fact, they're not being tested for any communicable diseases. And we have seen these border crossers and refugees bring diseases into this country that had previously been eradicated. And even the New York Times is saying this is not a good thing. Now, Mexico has decided they're going to refuse to accept captured illegal immigrants. So now there's a bit of a problem. If they get over the fence from Mexico to the U.S. and they are caught, Mexico is refusing to take them back. I think we ought to get those people who do the pumpkin chunkin with the air cannons and the trebuchets and, just fling them back over the border fence. Highest bounce and longest distance gets the trophy here. And apparently the Biden administration has canceled the Trump asylum deals with El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras. And so those deals are no longer operative, and it's going to get ugly out there. I can just imagine Tom in Florida is just, ready to scream about the evils of immigration. And I agree, it's a problem. It's definitely a problem here. This next story is it's a stunner. It's an absolute stunner, and it shows how far our education system has declined. This is a story coming out of Zero Hedge, and it's talking about Allison Collins, the vice president of the San Francisco Board of Education. And she has come out with this idea that meritocracy is racist and should not be used even in the selection of students in the advanced or gifted programs. All righty. And we have seen other instances where the liberal agenda says that there shouldn't be selection based on academic performance. Testing is bad. Grades are bad. Everybody is supposed to be equally dumb. And it's a little bit scary. And Collins and other board members want to abolish merit-based selection in favor of a blind lottery system, kind of like what we already have in Washington, D.C. Now, the problem I have with this is that a wise country, wise government is going to locate and nurture the best minds and lead them along, teach them, to make them the leaders of science and industry going into the future, to make us competitive against other countries who are doing that, who scout among their young people for the sharpest minds and say, okay, here's somebody with potential. Let's invest our educational funds on them and stop wasting money on the dullards who just want to sit in the back of the room and play craps with the dice. And it really does. I got to see that. When I was living in California, I taught one semester of remedial math at the high school level, and I had a lot of problem with the school administration when I was trying to say, there are kids here that just need, a little more focused attention and they'll excel. And they said, no, they can't excel. We're guaranteeing everybody an equal education, even if it's equally bad. And that's why I was only there for one semester. Over at Harvard's Kennedy School, students there are pushing for mandatory anti-racism courses. Okay, so you graduate with a degree in anti-racism. What kind of a job do you think you're going to have? And do you want fries with that? All right, getting into some other territory. The gun grab is still going on. It is out there. Senator Marco Rubio has reintroduced legislation that would suspend the Second Amendment rights of any person who has been investigated for terrorism offenses within 10 years of attempting a gun purchase. Doesn't say convicted of a terrorism-related offense, merely investigated, and you lose your Second Amendment rights. Now, the bill is named the Terror Intelligence Improvement Act, was re-entered last week in hopes of exploiting the hysteria surrounding the January 6th Capitol protests. And the law intends to violate the civil liberties of American citizens who are not charged or convicted of a crime. They just have to be denounced, like the red flag laws. They are really, really scared of the American people right now. They ought to really take a look at those who've been violent over the last 4 years and focus their attention on them and leave the rest of us peaceful Americans alone here. Getting into the science and technology news here. Apparently, Starlink already has 10,000 users. Now, that's way, way below its maximum design capacity. And but according to a SpaceX FCC filing, they're getting customers, and apparently there's something like $500 to get the ground station and to sign up. And then there's a monthly cost, but apparently you get download speeds of at least 100 megabits per second with fewer than 31 milliseconds of latency. And this is well above the average speed users get in several states. Now, we were supposed to get 100 megabits per second in Oahu. We were actually getting about 70. We're supposed to get 100 megabits per second here. And it's about 80 with a lot of interruptions here. So I don't know. I might, for my birthday, might get a Starlink dish back out here. Apparently, the Microsoft Defender Advanced Threat Protection, which is the commercial version of the free version that comes on your computers, is currently having a bad day. And apparently it is labeling Google Chrome's latest browser update as a backdoor Trojan. And that's been a big problem with anti-malware, antivirus software, is it can give you false positives. And you can wind up deleting perfectly innocent files and applications off of your machine. And it is a big, big problem. So apparently Microsoft Defender ATP is now saying that Google Chrome is a backdoor Trojan. Another one here is Android devices are threatened by a botnet malware, millions and millions. And apparently Chinese researchers say millions of Android devices, including smartphones, tablets, TVs, and set-top boxes, are threatened by new malware that wants to draft the devices into a giant botnet. That is the purpose of most malware these days, to create these giant botnets that are then used to launch attacks on other people. Now, researchers are calling it matryosh, and apparently because its functions are layered like a Russian matryoshka nesting doll. And but it's definitely out there, and they're saying it is easy to protect against, but you have to take you have to take the time to do it. And again, talking about Android, there is a barcode scanner at the Google Play Store, and it's popular. It's been around for a very, very long time, but apparently somebody got into it, or either at the source side or at the Play Store, but apparently it is now malware, and it has hijacked millions of devices. Now, the application in question is Lavabird Limited's barcode scanner, and it's a QR code reader and a barcode generator, which is a useful utility here. And the application appeared to be legitimate, trustworthy software, and it's operated for years without problems until recently. Now, according to Malwarebytes, users recently started to complain of advertisements appearing unexpectedly on their Android devices. It is often the case that unwanted programs, ads, and malvertising are connected with new app installations, but in this example, users reported they hadn't installed anything recently. So apparently, investigators pinpointed the barcode scanner as being the source of it. I love this next story here. If you go on out and search for pictures of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, you're going to find a lot of them where she's wearing a bikini or seeming to wear a bikini. They're Photoshop jobs and everything. And it basically reveals there is a problem with artificial intelligence. Because, they'll hatch an artificial intelligence program, and they'll say, go out on the internet and learn what you can. And because there are so many photos of naked women on the internet, the AIs come to the conclusion that women just don't like wearing clothes. And they will then, appropriately alter their point of view of the world. So they're not intelligent enough just yet. which is a good news because former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is saying that China is going to use artificial intelligence to harm the United States. And they're basically saying they're going to use intelligence as a weapon to strong arm the United States. They'll use AI to gather it up, and they'll turn it around and use it against us. So evil, evil China, evil, evil computers, and so forth and so on. Apparently, there's been another data breach up in Washington State. 1.6 million people had their personal information exposed, including their social security numbers, their driver's license, and their bank details. And I still don't understand why the government has not mounted a Manhattan Project scale, effort to deal with this. Okay, we got to take another break for commercials. We're going to open the phone lines, area code 512-248-8252. We'll be right back.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Please view, like, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Stop terrorism. Please contact us if you or anyone you know who wants to be on our show at thetruthpharmacy@gmail.com. Keep it real. Take the red pill.
Is your property a financial burden and causing you grief? Have you tried to sell but can't find buyers? Or are you just too busy to sell your property? Don't worry, we have the right solution for you. We buy properties as is, with cash, close in 30 days, and pay all closing costs. Our service is ideal for property owners who are in pre-foreclosure, have high-end repair costs, experiencing financial hardship, going through costly divorces, are relocating, need cash for retirement, suffering family loss, or have tax liens. Whatever your situation may be, we can help you sell your property and get the money you need. If you own a single-family home or multiple family units, call us for a free consultation at 888-910-1037. That's 888-910-1037. Or visit our website at cashingproperty.com. That's cashingproperty.com. Sell your property fast and leave all your worries behind.
February is Heart Month. Every year for the month of February, to show our appreciation to Extendivite's faithful customers, we have a sale. If you would like to try Extendivite, now is the time to get a few months ahead and really give Extendivite the time to show you how it works. Most of Extendivite's long-term customers wait for this sale to stock up. People and doctors tell us about the unbelievable improvements that they have experienced in their overall health, not just the heart. Extendivite wants you to experience the power of these herbs. Get a 4-month supply for only $115 for either the capsules or tincture. Please take advantage of this once-per-year sale and get healthy for life. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or find us on Amazon.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When all is twisted steel was swept away, did these remaining holes reveal what's really happened?
Welcome back to our show here. The phone lines are already full here, but before I go to the phones, I want to do one more story here. They're talking about the Baltic Beast. This is a storm bearing down on Britain. 50-mile-an-hour Nordic blizzards. They're expecting 8 inches of snow, or they got 8 inches of snow, and apparently it's really, really nasty. Gosh darn, that human-caused global warming, and we're expecting global warming powder here any minute. So let's go to the telephones here, and we're going to start with Joe in California. Hello, Joe. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike. It's really unfortunate. Mark and Miles are at it again. Guys, you're playing into the hands of our enemies. In the words of that immortal wordsmith, Rodney King, can't we all just get along?
Yes.
Please. Just a quick point. I want to follow up on what Tom said last week about his favorite subject.
Yes.
Illegal immigration. Mike, these huge, I think I mentioned this a few years ago, these huge outflows from the region, they act as a sort of escape valve for the corrupt political leadership in these countries.
Okay.
If things become intolerable for a large segment of the population, they simply pick up and leave. So, this is completely acceptable for the political class, as it allows them to, continue their corrupt criminal ways. So that's a big part of this. They love the fact that their people can just pick up and go to Gringolandia. That's fine. That's fine with them.
Okay.
So, and then as far as last 2 points, I'm in complete agreement with Layla regarding Peter in Los Angeles' presidential run.
Yes.
The bad news is now we need about $1 billion to make it happen.
Yep.
So listeners, start collecting your nickels and dimes and quarters and send them in. Last, I wanted to just make a point. I wanted to ask Layla. I just recently purchased Alan Hart's 3-volume history on Zionism.
Yes.
And I wanted to ask if she had any thoughts on those 3 volumes and Alan Hart. He passed away a few years ago. And also on the Palestinian leadership, we hear how corrupt they are. Was there any one or 2 individuals among the Palestinian leadership who Layla thought, yeah, he was a real he or she was a real patriot? And that's all I have. Thank you, Mike.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch over to Mike in Kentucky. Hello, Mike. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Well, I'm on a computer that's never searched for girly photos or Alexandria Cortez, and I have to, it's one thing a couple of years ago that was pretty disturbing is I had to log into my LinkedIn profile on a grandpa's computer. When I came back to my computer, I had all these lingerie photos and advertisements show up. It makes me wonder what grandpa's been looking at.
Well, there may be snow on the roof, but there's still a fire in the furnace.
Well, you have to go way down the page to even find.
Mike, stay on the line.
Music. Yeah.
Stay on the line.
Right.
I'm going to put you on hold. I'm going to come right back to you after the station identification.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, the number 2, keep it today.
You're listening to Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.
Welcome to the Michael Rivero What Really Happened radio program.
And welcome back to our show. Here we're talking with Mike in Kentucky. And Mike, please pick up where you left off.
Okay. Well, I was just saying, and I've had this experience before, long before people talked about, and long before Zach Voorhees came out of Google with the blacklists and how they manipulate search results to attempt to get ahead of, the AI being racist or something. But on this particular computer, when I just did an image search with Google, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, there's no bikini stuff coming up. In fact, you can't even find that Boston University dance video she did very easily. But one thing I found disturbing is some of the videos seem to show how far her chest has fallen, and I'm thinking she's,
Well, let's not get personal here.
Well,
I
I'm
mean,
not
I'll be honest. She's easy on the eyes. I disagree with her politically, but she's easy on the eyes, and of course, I'm a married guy, so I can't do anything about it.
Special Kevlar, Defense Department projects going here to shore up things up. With better brassieres for women, I think has got to be something the Defense Department needs to look at. But she must have done way too much dancing or something, is all I can say. But there's no bikinis anywhere. But some of the photos that you see, it becomes very obvious. Yeah, it's way down the page before you get to the Houston Chronicle for me, and that viral video of her dancing around in that Breakfast Club parody. But I just thought that was amusing, because I did read that over the weekend. The other thing is, speaking of disinformation, burying stuff in search engines, is there's a WXYZ video now that is attempting to supplant the video that I caught over the weekend on Republic Broadcasting's webpage of the 3:30 a.m. and 4:30 a.m. TC something center. Shane Trejo claimed to have witnessed it, and they tried to get the video. They first tried to stonewall them with a $22,000 fee to get 24 hours worth of video, and they only requested 2 hours, right? So even with that, they had the 2-hour window that they requested, or so many cameras. I guess it took them quite a while to go through all the video. And that's standard operating procedure when you try to get video out of the government. I know a guy in Texas that was beaten up by some state cops trying to file a stay of eviction order, and they beat the crap out of him, wouldn't allow him to see the clerk, even though the judge was there. He's been trying to get the video for months, since back last November, and they keep playing, shuffle game. But now there's this fake narrative coming up on this election fraud video that shows a guy taking camera equipment into the same place, and they say, no, it's, it's disinformation. It says, there's no fraud here. This is a camera guy. And that is starting to dominate the search results. I saw the same thing when I think it was Vault 7 released the what was that, cherry blossom malware that was throughout all of these Wi-Fi routers, right? You remember that?
I remember that one.
All of a sudden, within a few days, there's a punk rock band named Cherry Blossom that dominates the search results, and that who gets buried. They're really manipulating things.
Yes,
and
they
have
are.
been for a long time, but long before what's his name came forward, Zach Voorhees. You might. It would be a good interview if you could get him. He's got that stop bit burning thing. and the documentation on it. I think they put up some token lefty web pages they could point to and say, see, we also downrank these people.
Yeah.
But who that they're downranking. Anyway, I'll let you go.
All right. Well, thanks an awful lot for the phone call. And we're going to switch over to Peter in Los Angeles. And Peter, your ears must be burning. They're talking about you again. When you run for president, can I be your VP?
Geez, I'm sorry, I missed that. I'll tell you, I missed
when you
that.
run when you run for president, can I be your vice president?
Yeah, you can do better than that. You can be my donor.
If I could be your donor, I'd be running for president myself. I tried that.
Well, there you go. You know, the presidents do whatever the donors want them to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Mike, the reason why I was calling is I wanted to just briefly talk about something I read about with Israel today.
Yes.
And it is, other than the fact that, they've run our foreign policy, and I wonder why we're in such a horrible place in the world. Well, we haven't even been following a foreign policy that looks after our interests. We've done all these wars and spent trillions of dollars that's on behalf and for their interests, like Iran, Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
They want us to go to Iran, but Lebanon and Syria and Libya and Yemen is at their behest as well, and all these other things. And the fact that we've given them much more money now than the Apollo program, the entire space program ever has, and that we allowed them to steal nuclear weapons-grade uranium enough to get a bomb. We allowed them to sink a ship of ours without any sort of nothing, no accountability. We've allowed them to bug every single phone and text and tweet and email in the United States that Obama willingly gave to them, and they're bugging everybody. Everything that the CIA and the NSA does, Israel has the unvarnished, unedited version of that, so they can blackmail or suborn or set you up, any of us.
Mm-hmm.
But at any rate, I happened to read today where our bestest friend forever, they've granted port of call rights to the Chinese Navy in Haifa.
Yes.
And it was much, of course, against our interests. Like we want the Chinese Navy with a base there, but of course we can't do anything about it. They tell us what to do, and so we wanted to take a look at it. The American Navy wanted to take a look
and Israel said no.
and inspect it, and Israel denied us the right to that. We probably paid for every berth in Haifa Harbor. We probably dredged the whole port out. And this is what they do. This is how they treat us after everything we've done for them. And by the way, they've also sold Chinese, just about any technology the Chinese want, they get from the Israelis. The Israelis get from us, and they sell to them. Russians too, by the way.
Yes.
So just want to bring that up, Mike. It's like as perfidious as it gets. I can't think of another example in the history of the world where this has been going on. But that's it for me, Mike. Thanks very much.
All right. Thank you very much for the phone call. We're going to switch over to Mark in North Carolina. Hello, Mark. What's on your mind today?
Hey, how you doing, Mike? Mike, a couple of things. One is Marco Rubio. Here's an example of a guy who was actually got elected as a Tea Party member,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And the problem with the Republicans is that what we're dealing with is a party that's been so infiltrated and wormed into, actually like parasites.
Yeah.
Is the neocons. And
yes.
That's somebody like Rubio is a prime example. So is Liz Cheney, of course, the daughter of one of the arch war criminals.
Yes.
Dick Cheney, so people shouldn't be surprised about that. And I was, I just don't understand why people can't get that through their heads. And that brings me back to Donald Trump. Some of the things he's done that really we're paying for now. And one of these things, and I'm not going to forgive him for this, I'm sorry, and that's this vaccine. this vaccine is proving to be more and more deadly.
Yes.
And there's a lot of reports. Literally millions of people may die from this thing in the future because it's like a bomb inside of you. You get in contact with another coronavirus, that means just a common cold. It can kill you. You go into cytostome, what do you call it? Cytostome storm. And
Cytokine storm.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Cytokine, exactly. I'm sorry. But, you know, this is a very serious deal. And this clown pushed it. He pushed it to the max. You know, Operation Warp Speed. And I'm not going to forgive him for that, okay? It's not that I like, believe me, I don't want Biden in there. Biden's a bum. And he's trying to push this now, too. But for crying out loud, I'm not even talking about making people take it. I'm not even talking about forcibly. I'm saying the idiots that are going in there voluntarily and wanting this vaccine, it is sad. It is going to kill the people. It's going to. I just found out a cousin of mine living in New Jersey, you know, not too surprising there, a real liberal, you know, a fool. I warned her, and yet now I saw on Facebook, she's not even talking to me on Facebook anymore, really.
Okay.
Because, you know, I insulted her father, who's an out-and-out communist. Okay, my cousin, first cousin. And she said that, but she posted on Facebook that her whole family, her kids, her husband, have COVID now, which is not, you know, it's no big deal. It's basically the family has a cold, sharing cold together, or a flu. But she also said that she took the vaccine, I think a couple of days before, but it says it was too late to do anything, to stop anything from happening because she had taken the vaccine only like, I think a day or two before. Now, no, that's probably what caused your COVID. And you take that second
It could
vaccine,
be. I mean, that's what happened with my doctor. She got the shot, and then 3 days later, you know, she had the COVID.
and you take that second shot, it could be a lot worse. Okay?
Yes.
So, but I'm not even going to say anything to her because what can I say? I mean, she's already, I don't respect the science. I don't understand. I'm anti-vax. I'm a conspiracy theorist. So, you know, you want to believe that stuff, go ahead. I'm just trying my own two sons and my grandkids and my daughter-in-law. I'm trying to stop them from getting this vaccine. Hopefully I could. I can succeed because this thing is horrible. And I blame Donald Trump for this, Mike. I can't help it. Who else? Who was pushing this thing and even bragging about it after
I agree with you. I
over?
agree with you. This was a rush job. It was going to have problems. And, you know, he wanted to get it out there and be the savior of the country. And even before the election happened, I said, you know, this is going to backfire on him because it's going to harm a lot of people and he's going to get the blame for it. And he deserves the blame for it.
Yeah. But certain of you callers now are probably going to come on and they're going to yell and scream about me again. That I'm no, what they don't understand is this. I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I despise both parties. I think both parties are basically worthless. And we need something else. Maybe a populist party, patriot party, something. All right, that's not my... But I blame, if somebody's to blame, blame them. I don't worship a human being. I worship God. Okay? I may not worship him the same way that the Abrahamic religions worship him, but I believe God exists. I believe he's the God of this universe, and that's who I worship. I'm not going to worship a man, okay? I'm not. I'm not going to worship a politician or a businessman. Now, that's just one more thing that brings me to a possibility for 2024. And again, I'm not worshiping this guy. I don't even care about the stupid bowl. I didn't bother watching it, but I saw later on in Alex Jones that Tom Brady was seen outside there not wearing a mask and proudly with all the other team members heading into I think they were heading into the locker room. He's not wearing a mask. Here's a guy I think we might be looking at 2024 for our next president. That's the guy. That's the kind of guy we need. I don't know I know he's more conservative in his political opinions, and it's good, but I don't know everything about the guy. Okay, because I'm not I really don't follow professional sports that much because you lose, when you follow it too much, you become too engaged in the sports and not know what's going on in the world. And that's what happens so many people today. But it seems to me that this is the kind of guy we should look at, for maybe 2024. And that's about all I got to say, Mike. I know I'm going to get a lot of heat now from Tom and Miles and a whole bunch. But you know what? I'll debate any of them. I'll debate any of them. All day I'll debate if they want. Okay?
Okay.
So that's it, Mike.
All right. Thanks an awful lot. And we're going to switch over to Keith Rogers. Hello, Keith. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
Well, hello, Mike. I was going to talk to you about Miramar there, but I wanted to work backwards. You remember Errol Flynn's Objective Burma?
Yes.
Okay, so you remember the fog of war, and that's where McNamara discusses the firebombing of 67 Japanese cities.
Yes.
And he notes in there, he says that in equivalent, it would have been 27 million Americans. And I looked this up. So the population of Japan at the time was, in 1941, was 73 million.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's work backwards. So General Stilwell, he's the one that helped build the road over there to get across the Himalayas, put in a massive landing thing so that China could become an aircraft carrier as they did these aerial bombings. And I should lament that after McNamara had said that, then he says, and then we dropped the 2 atomic bombs. So you can imagine it was probably 27 million people killed. And of course, he talks about LeMay and him discussing war crimes charges. But anyway, now let's bring you further current. We have our current pivot to Asia. And they are now trying to reopen the road to Borneo, which is the old Stilwell Trail. And there's a great video on YouTube about this. And the funny thing is while they're destroying these teakwood forests, are up going the opium fields now.
Okay.
And of course, now that leads up into, so this leads up to now that Israel has been fueling this Miramar thing with weapons sales. No different than down in Honduras. Yeah, right. But anyway, but Israel's been fueling this with their weapons sales. And I always think, this is where the old commerce thing comes in. And of course, it gives the U.S. and their so-called proxies a backdoor into the backside of China. And of course, the Bolsheviks, their final goal is to destroy Russia. So I think this is what I'm seeing over here, drawing lines to dots and stuff like that, that they're trying to set up a suitable government for this transition. One thing that disturbed me the most about watching that road to Borneo was the fact that when it starts out, it shows all these beautiful kids with so much respect for their parents and stuff, and they can't wait to get Western tourism in there. And I thought they're screwed.
Yes. Yes.
That's all I had for you.
All right. Well, Keith, thanks an awful lot. And we're going to switch over to Layla in Canada. And Layla, I'm probably going to have to take you through the next commercial break. What is on your mind today?
Actually, I wanted to let people know that I'm going away. I'm going to a chalet up north, and it'll be a long time before I call in again. So I don't want anyone to think I've died of COVID. But there are 2 subjects I wanted to raise. One is the hormone oxytocin. I assume you're familiar with it, although many people may not be. But it is one of the core deficits in schizophrenia. And oxytocin does 2 things. It allows for facial recognition of those who are dear and genetically similar to you, including children and your spouse. Secondly, it's also transmitted through fragrance, through odor. It is released in men when they are in an intimate relationship with a woman, and it encourages monogamy and loyalty to the wife and the family.
Okay, good.
Secondly, it's released in women. It is released in women partially during gestation, but especially during labor and lactation. And most women who cannot lactate are lacking the oxytocin hormone. Now, if you cover a person's face with a mask, they can neither do their facial recognition nor can they smell one another. And furthermore, there have been so many artificial fragrances, chemicals that they call perfume, that interfere with the ability to recognize fragrances or odors of people that are familiar to you.
Okay.
And the other thing I wanted to bring up was Ashera.
Okay, Layla, I'm going to put you on hold. Do not hang up. And I'm going to come right back to you after these words from our sponsors.
Have you been looking for a trusted long-term storable food company? We have a solution for you. Simply Clean Foods is dedicated to providing the best quality food you can buy next to fresh from a farmer's market. Our line of resealable fruits, vegetables, and meats are suitable for everyday use, and you won't have to worry about throwing away valuable groceries ever again. Our food is completely GMO-free, and our stringent quality controls, plus testing for heavy metals, makes us unique in the storable foods market. Simply Clean Foods' primary focus is to bring clean food to people all around the world and change the way we look at freeze-dried food in our daily cooking. When you purchase from simplycleanfoods.net, not only will you be receiving high-quality food, but you will also be supporting veterans in need across the country and those who are affected by natural disasters. Right now, Amazon Prime members will receive fast 2-day shipping. Go to simplycleanfoods.net. That's simplycleanfoods.net. But do it today.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
Well, they're stealing down on Wall Street and in Washington, too. You know, it makes me wonder, what's a guy on Main Street to do? I've always tried to be an honest, upstanding kind of guy. But I must admit lately, I thought about giving something else a try. Oh, I want to be a pirate. I want to sail the 7 seas, yeah, I want to be a pirate.
And welcome back to our show here. We're talking with Layla in Canada, and Layla, who's leaving shortly for a chalet. Do you ski?
I used to, yes. It's been a long time since I did downhill. I've been doing cross country and snowshoeing.
Okay.
But I can't go south because there are so many obstacles at the border, and my passport is one excuse after another. They're denying it to me. So I thought, you know, I'm not going to curse. I'd like to say out loud, but Okay, I'll go north. I can't go south. I'll go north. I just want to get away from the insanity. But
don't
anyway,
we all? I mean, I agree with you on that one. Anyway, we were talking about how our modern civilization is literally cutting us off from our natural senses. I was watching this show about modern mountain men, where they say when they first went up in the mountains, it was almost a month before their hearing returned to what they would call useful levels, in the mountain, that there was just this constant ringing from the cacophony of sounds that we have in our society. We obscure our natural communicative sense with all these perfumes and stuff. It can be, it's a little bit of an overload. So you were telling us about some of these hormones that we need to be able to send to each other to communicate.
Well, oxytocin is especially important because it keeps the band of people who are loyal and trustworthy together.
Okay.
And if you want to mingle the races and make them forget who they are and who their genus is, who their actual those who are genetically similar to them, then what you do is you cut off the ability to subliminally, even in modern man, we can still smell when somebody is an alien or a different breed or a different. We're all hybrids now. Although
that's an interesting insight.
Yeah, well, everybody in my family had a very high sense of smell. And what I imagine is somebody in our band being outside and sniffing the air for the odor of aliens, of an invading tribe coming, drifting through the winds. That's how we survived. Hatred, suspicion are primal needs that are essential, or else we would never have survived. And banding together, even tribes in ancient times used to switch alliances. The idea of treaties and confederations existed way back, long before our modern times, where we think treaties are new things. Tribes could switch their confederations and depending upon their needs. And there was a concept that was called the hamula, which in Arabic means strength. What they don't understand is that the hamula was a confederation of tribes. But anyway, the mask, COVID itself, was supposed to decrease our ability to smell and taste. And if I remember early biology well, the smell buds, the taste buds are actually at the very back of the tongue, and they are, you taste through smell. So once you destroy the ability to smell, and if you cover people's faces and you cannot see who they are, you begin to forget who you should be, and you're quite willing to become a hybrid. And the other hormones take over. As for women, I'm sorry, a woman who does not have oxytocin is not a full woman. That's my opinion. She loses her femininity. And cortisol, I remember reading many years ago that cortisol in women deranged their hormones. So all these women who are in high-level stress positions, like CEOs or politicians or whatever, they become as rapacious and as murderous as the worst of men. Anyway, the other subjects I wanted to get to that's really important to me before
you move on, and I'm going to take you through this next commercial break here. You're talking about the sense of smell, binding groups together. It reminds me of the Maori custom when you meet somebody of touching foreheads and briefly sniffing each other. And I thought it was pure symbolism, but now you're telling me there's an actual genetic hormonal basis for this.
Absolutely, and it goes even further between species. I remember I've had a number of horses, and my husband's father was a cavalryman and also an Ojibwa or Chippewa, whatever you call them. With all my horses, my husband would put his face to them and breathe into their nostrils. And I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "The horse gets to know you by your personality, by your smell." And whenever my horse would misbehave, any of my horses, my husband would lecture them and berate them like a child. They would literally hang their head in shame. It was bizarre, but I learned a lot from him. But
You
anyway,
know,
back
that reminds
to
me when
another
I was
subject
first
of-
learning to ride. When I was first learning to ride, you know, they said the thing when you're first meeting a horse is you have an apple, and when you give it the apple to eat, you put your hand over their nose so they smell you, and they associate your scent
Exactly.
with that apple. Yeah, okay, that makes a
Same
lot of sense.
thing.
Yes.
Yeah. But the other thing is I've encouraged people on this program to subscribe to Magellan TV. I would urge you not to. And let me tell you why.
Layla,
I'm
got to put you on hold again.
Okay.
Got to put you on hold again. Don't hang up.
Okay.
We'll be right back after these few words.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll-free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
Hey gang, Patrick Slattery here with an important message that is pertinent to anyone who shops for groceries, eats food, or just has an inquisitive mind like myself. What I'm about to introduce you to is a segment of our food culture that has been kept so low profile to the American public that virtually no one is aware of how dominant it is on our refrigerator and cupboard shelves. What I'm talking about is the kosher certification industry and a new app, Koshertified, that delivers a comprehensive education on all aspects regarding this little-known practice. After reviewing this app, I found that it is useful for practically anyone who purchases food, regardless of their religious faith or identity. Its database of products not kosher certified is a win-win convenience for all food-conscious people. So why not check out the kosherquestion.com or click on the link at nationalbugle.com and see how modifying your grocery shopping with the Koshertified app can make a huge difference for your future.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Amazon customer. It's amazing. I just ordered my second bottle. In 1 month, my blood pressure dropped significantly. I no longer get chest pain after I exercise. The reviews are spot on. My target is to get off of BP meds, and if it keeps going like this, I see a light at the end of the tunnel. Amazon customer. Extendivite works great. This product has made my blood pressure and cholesterol stable. I highly recommend it. Amazon customer. Excellent herbal formula. I've been using it to keep my cardiovascular system fine-tuned. Extendivite is only $69.95 for a 2-month supply. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com. That's HEARTDROP.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Wall Street wizards on the land from a mental institution. Claim private retirement funds. Yeah, they are the best solution. But when the markets crash, we'll be asking where's the cash? Guess them folks in D.C. must be smoking Texas hash.
Welcome back to our show here. We're talking with Layla in Canada. We're talking about hormonal transmission and learning about each other literally through their smell. Maybe that's why Joe Biden is always sniffing those little girls or something. And It's also be interesting, why the remote learning isn't working because your computer monitor doesn't smell like your teacher.
Yeah, I mean, people have to come in. We also draw energy from one another.
Yes, we do.
It's kind of like batteries that recharge. I think we recharge from our social interactions. That's just there's nothing to verify it other than my
anybody who's been in a show or a rock band or anything, they understand when you've got that audience in front of you, you feed off of them, to get that energy. You never get it in rehearsal. You never get that in rehearsal.
Yeah, you know what your audience wants, and you're able to respond to them, to give them what they need. And what, it's a beautiful interaction that's below or above the level of verbalizing. But the thing that I wanted to talk about with Magellan is please do not subscribe. They have a bunch of teasers out now with, love documentaries, love and sex. And the first one made Casanova look like he was an early feminist when he was a pig, a sexual glutton who spread venereal disease all over Europe.
Yes.
That was the first offensive one. But the second one, I started to watch and then had to turn it off when they were talking about how there was always a pantheon of gods where there was a male equivalent and his female lover that was the progenitor of his children.
Yes.
And then they had God. God had a wife named Asherah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just so outraged. And the figurine that they used and that they are calling Asherah is not the goddess of the wife of God. She is a Canaanite symbol that was intended to ward off evil. And I know this personally because my grandmother, who was my father's mother, who was a Hananiah from the tribe of Judah, when my mother was dying of typhus, and a German doctor was the one who saved her from the German colony in Palestine, this was in 42, when she was dying, my grandmother went up on the roof, she bared her breasts to the heavens, to the Shemayim, and she held her breasts in her hands and prayed for God to spare my mother. That was to ward off evil.
Okay.
The other thing that Jews do not know is at the end of their wedding, when they break a glass, they think it's to commemorate the destruction of the Second Temple. No, it is also intended to ward off evil. Because when I if I was washing dishes with my maternal grandmother and I dropped something that broke, my grandmother would say, in Chasar al-Shar, which means the evil has been broken.
Okay.
So when you break a glass and you do it intentionally, you are again warding off evil, hoping that the future is. Also, mariners, men, all the men who were who sailed, everyone thinks that they were lascivious when they would have the female torso with the naked breasts on the front mast.
Yep.
That was also intended to protect them from storms at sea.
Yes.
Ward off evil. Before we sexualized the human breast and started stuffing it full of silicone, it was God's source of life to us. It was what fed babies. And how many times I heard my father say, I'm sorry, I can't help the way I am, but it was in my mother's milk. She fed it to me as a baby.
Okay.
So many cultures say that. Many cultures say that. So this thing with making God a sexual being, I mean, God cannot be a sexual being.
Well, it depends on what religion you're looking at. I mean, if you're looking at the Roman and Greek gods, they were very sexual. Remember Leda and the Swan?
They were pagan, and they were pagans. They were pagans, but those of us who believe in God as a spiritual essence, who is both omnipresent, who is actually omnipresent, omniscient, and omnipotent when he wants to be.
Okay.
He is not an ordinary person. It is not needed. I remember my uncle would say, I won't even call him a he. There is a power, there is a goodness. And it doesn't matter if you believe or not, whether you follow a religion, there is something greater than us. Unless we believe in a power greater than ourselves, then we make ourselves the greatest power. And the fact that this is coming out of Israeli archaeologists just outrages me. Because not only have they stolen the religion of ancient Canaan, but they're distorting it. And,
yes,
and it
for
just,
political reason.
So, to Kyle in Berlin, who said something last Friday about how we always pick on Jews. No, we're not picking on Jews. We're picking on those who are pretenders to being Jews. Jesus himself said, those of you who say you are Jews and are not Jews. And he knew the day would come when this would happen. So those who say they are Jews, free yourself from that false identity.
Okay.
But,
Layla?
Furthermore, Kyle, sorry,
Yeah,
I know.
got to wrap it up. I've given you a lot of time here, and we got other callers waiting.
I know, but this is my last call, so you need not worry about. Kyle mentioned something about the Declaration of Adjunct. He is right. Americans who revere their Declaration of Independence should look it up. So goodbye, everybody. Take care of yourselves and be well. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye, Layla. All right. We're going to switch over to Tom in Florida. And Tom, take a deep breath, calm down, and what's on your mind?
Well, Michael, my ears are burning. I got my and congratulations to Layla. I hope we can hear from her whenever she gets the time to call back in. That'll be wonderful. But listen, Mike, my ears are burning. And to that caller from Carolina,
yes,
he's right. I agree with him that Tom Brady maybe would be a great president. I actually had a wonderful night last night. I won a couple $100. My man won. I'm so happy to see that the Buck. You play that song. I want to be a pirate. Well, I want to be a Buccaneer.
Okay.
So, Mike. So
have
we
heard
won.
The woke
we won
crowd
the Super Bowl.
The woke crowd is now screaming about that name and image as associated with piracy, and they don't even understand the history. A buccaneer, in its original context, was somebody who smoked meat for preservation on a wooden rack, a boucan. So somebody who made the meat was a buccaneer, but the pirates would use that skill to provision their ship before raiding, and that's why the two got confused. But that's what a buccaneer really is somebody who smokes meat.
That is absolutely correct, Mike. They're on the old pirate on the ships. Exactly.
Yes.
Now, let me before we get onto something else I want to talk about. For 6 hours, Mike, I had an endure Black Lives Matter commercials all over on CBS, Communist Broadcasting System, about the Super Bowl. Everybody, all the people that are talking is that this guy Mahomes is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and Tom Brady's a washed-up old man. Well, Tom Brady just proved he's got 7 rings, been to the Super Bowl 10 times. He brought Gronk in there, and you know what? He is a world champion again, and he probably can win it again next year, which I would think would be fantastic to shut all these imbeciles up. And he got a lot of fools in the sports world or imbeciles. Okay, Tom Brady would make probably a great president. However, let's not kid ourselves. Donald Trump was playing golf with Brady, and they're good friends. And basically, Tom Brady couldn't even win the state of Massachusetts if he wanted to against Elizabeth Warren. So just so the guy in Carolina understands, he would have to run against Elizabeth Warren in that liberal, licky-kissy, sussy state where all the white people seem like they hate each other. They hate their skin color in that state. Seems like. Okay, keep voting for Democrats. And to Layla's point, I think all the Republicans take glass and smash it at the midday. Every Republican in the House and the Senate should smash a glass and pray they can get rid of the evil spirits like Pigs Pelosi and all these demon rats. So I think that'd be a wonderful idea. So let's do that. And by the way, how can Pig Pelosi and Joe Biden call themselves true Catholics, Mike? When they believe in abortion, they allow illegal immigration to come in here, homosexuality runs rampant. No, they're not
immigration. I don't think immigration is referenced in the Catholic Bible. I know certainly that abortion is, and and homosexuality. But then we are dealing with a document that insists the earth is flat and rests on pillars. So I tend not to listen to them regarding homosexuality.
Well, Mike, in that regard, listen, California's already lost. We already know that. But here's what I want to get to now, Mike. Can I get to what I really got to say?
Yes,
please.
There's
2 things that you maybe can answer me. You can answer this for me, Mike. First off, did you happen to see Jesse Waters' show Saturday night?
No, I did not.
Okay. They kicked Lou Dobbs off the air. Friday night was his last broadcast. Lou Dobbs is done. He was a true patriot who loved his country. Okay, Lou Dobbs was a great man. He is a great man. Now, Jesse Waters, I couldn't believe this. The Murdochs allowed this. I guess they allowed it. Jesse Waters, for 30 minutes, was talking about everything you've been saying, Mike. This reminded me of you speaking when he was saying that if they turn Texas blue, The rest of the country's gone forever. Republicans don't have a chance ever in any kind of power position. And it's true. Jesse Waters hammered that home for 30 minutes about Texas going blue. And that whole modus of operandi by Biden and the demon rats is to turn that state, Texas, into a blue state or a purple state, mainly a blue state. And that's the same thing they try to do here in Florida, but DeSantis caught on to it, okay?
Yes.
And to a lot of these callers that call your show, if they want to come down to Florida, they're more than welcome. And just don't bring your liberal politics if you have it. Stay where you're at. If you want to be conservative, you want to come down here, fine. We'll accept you in Florida. However, getting back to Mike, Jesse Waters for 30 minutes was talking about Texas going blue. And then Judge Jeanine had talked about this a couple weeks back on Fox News. If you notice, they got rid of Lou Dobbs. I told my friend Kev, they're going to probably get rid of Jesse Waters. Jesse's probably going to be kicked off the air soon. He's a young-looking, good-looking guy. You know, he's got the American boy look. And here this guy is telling the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, but now they're going to go after him. Mark my words. Because he was saying, you allow Texas to go blue, this country's done. This country is a third world banana republic. Okay?
Yes, it is.
I'm not even going to talk about the murder rate that's going on in Mexico right now, Mike. On the borders, right on the borders of the American and Mexican border, the cities are in flames, some of them, with the crime rate. Now, getting back to this, Mike, and that's not, maybe you can help me out, Mike. I was on PBS here in South Florida. They had a show, okay? This has to do, you ever see a movie in you ever hear about the 1947 smallpox virus that hit New York?
I remember reading something about it, but I'm not fully conversant on it. No.
Okay, let me tell you, I couldn't get the title of the movie, Mike. Maybe your listeners can help me. I was watching the movie for like 20 minutes, the end of the movie, and they had these guys who were dealing in diamonds. And this movie was made in 1947. This movie was made like 47, 48. It was a Hollywood version movie that this guy had smallpox, and there was a lady in it, and they were going around New York, and the smallpox was just, and they said they got to kick out all these vaccinations because everybody's going to die.
I'm looking at it now. It was called The Killer That Stalked New York. Let's see, based on smallpox, The Killer That Stalks New York, which was a 1948 Cosmopolitan article, and was made immediately after that. But yes, there was the smallpox.
That was the movie, Mike.
Yeah. Okay.
And they had to, and what happened in the movie, they had to go after the first person that had it. It's like this Wuhan flu. Who was the very first person that came into New York or San Francisco with this Wuhan flu? They never gave you the name. Who was that person? Where did that person come from? Wuhan, China. Okay. If we could trace that down into that lab, where did this flu come from? Just like this movie is made in Hollywood. They made a movie. I don't know if the Jews were in control of that in studios at the time or who was, but somebody made a movie that was right after 1947, 48. They're having a movie about smallpox is killing everybody in New York. If you don't get vaccinated, you're dead. Can you believe that? Now, 1968, Mike, let's move it up 20 years later. Okay? 1968, the Hong Kong flu comes here. Yes. Nobody got vaccinated. Nobody was wearing masks. Kids were I was going to school. I was a kid. We were all going to school. The kids didn't even know about it. Nobody had to stay home. Nobody heard about nothing. Now, I'm thinking to myself, 1960, I'm on this Earth planet. Maybe I'm immune now. Maybe I got to build up an immunity to the Hong Kong flu, the N1H1. Now it's called the H1N1. Before it was the N1H1. So all these millions of people worldwide are in the world at that time in 1968, when the Hong Kong flu was ravaging the world, they may have built up an immunity. So I'm saying to myself, here comes Falsey coming out, little Falsey, the little criminal Falsey, saying that you got to. First, this guy's telling Trump that don't worry, you don't have to worry about wearing a mask. You don't have to worry about a vaccination. This guy should be arrested. Falsey should be arrested. This criminal creep. I know what this creep is, but he's a liar. He's like Pig Pelosi's running around in a beauty salon with no mask on, and she's telling everybody she's going to have them arrested in the Capitol if they don't wear a mask. But she's going to a beauty salon on tape, and she's still the Speaker of the House, Mike. She tore up Donald Trump's speech in the Capitol. Whenever millions of people are watching, she's tearing his papers up. That was the most disgraceful thing I ever saw. And to that one guy in Carolina, he called the President of the United States the same thing. Come on, man. Why are you calling that man a clown? You don't have to use that word clown because, you know what? Trump should have never allowed that bumbling buffoon to call him a clown on national TV unless he shot back that you're a bumbling buffoon idiot.
Yeah, he should have responded to that one. Anyway.
Yes, Mike, and one more thing.
Yeah, one more thing, and then we got to move on to other callers.
Yeah, and I'll let you go. Okay.
I'll let you go. My radio show.
Rumbling Biden got away with he got away with that, Mike. But I just want to say this: Trump, okay, did expose what the main thing is: fake news networks. Every one of them are fake and phony. They're full of crap. They're nothing but lies. And as far as the Super Mike, 6 hours of the Super Bowl coverage was all about how bad white men are. White man bad, orange man bad. But here, Donald Trump is the devil. But, you know, they were. And let me tell you, all those networks were pulling for Mahomes to be Brady in the Super Bowl. Don't kid yourself.
Okay, two things I want to get. We're almost at the break. Two things I wanted to break.
Okay, Mike.
I know what ads cost on the Super Bowl, so somebody put a lot of money into trying to sell that message, white people bad, and so forth and so on. I heard another story that when the Bidens showed up, they actually got booed. I'm sure in subsequent playbacks, it'll be replaced with a cheering throng. But for those who watched it live, apparently there was quite a bit of booing going on.
That's what I heard also, Mike. I did hear that. Yes, there's a lot of booing going on. And Biden was even like, he was picking the Chiefs. Who's kidding who? The first thing he called out, he didn't say the Buccaneers. He said the Chiefs first and then the Buccaneers second. I watched him with his Joe Biden, and she's giving some crap about a dog. And I'm like, what a joke this whole thing's turned out to be. It's amazing to me, Mike. Anyway, God bless. Have a great show, Mike. You're man.
All right. Thanks an awful lot here. And we're actually just a few seconds away well, let's go ahead and start with James in Charlotte. And James, I'm going to have to take you through the commercial break, which is actually coming up now. So just hang on there and we'll come right back to you in a few minutes here. We're always a little tight for time at the end of the program. So we'll be back with James in Charlotte after these few words.
Hello, I'm Dr. Leonard Horowitz. I was right 30 years ago in warning the world about threatening lab virus outbreaks, AIDS, and Ebola. I was right 20 years ago when FBI Director Robert Mueller made me a suspect in the anthrax mailings because I warned the Bureau before the CIA's biocrime and Cipro sales psyops happened. I was right about COVID-19 being an AIDS-laced mutagen plan to resurge this fall to excuse officials' profitable depopulation globalization agendas. And I was right about the only safeguards being antioxidants and holy spiritual sustenance. Vitamin C, D, zinc, chlorophyll, oxygen, and oxysilver especially transmits the frequency resonance to neutralize the expanded function bioweapon. Oxysilver is a double superconductor of the healing power of love. It is the first nutraceutical invented to amplify prayer power and the faithful loving intention of your heart. Buy, try, and stockpile Oxysilver through HealthyWorldStore.com.
February is Heart Month. Every year for the month of February, to show our appreciation to Extendivite's faithful customers, we have a sale. If you would like to try Extendivite, now is the time to get a few months ahead and really give Extendivite the time to show you how it works. Most of Extendivite's long-term customers wait for this sale to stock up. People and doctors tell us about the unbelievable improvements that they have experienced in their overall health, not just the heart. Extendivite wants you to experience the power of these herbs. Get a 4-month supply for only $115 for either the capsules or tincture. Please take advantage of this once-per-year sale and get healthy for life. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or find us on Amazon.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Is your property a financial burden and causing you grief? Have you tried to sell but can't find buyers? Or are you just too busy to sell your property? Don't worry, we have the right solution for you. We buy properties as is, with cash, close in 30 days, and pay all closing costs. Our service is ideal for property owners who are in pre-foreclosure, have high-end repair costs, experiencing financial hardship, going through costly divorces, are relocating, need cash for retirement, suffering family loss, or have tax liens. Whatever your situation may be, we can help you sell your property and get the money you need. If you own a single-family home or multiple family units, call us for a free consultation at 888-910-1037. That's 888-910-1037. Or visit our website at cachingproperty.com. That's cachingproperty.com. Sell your property fast and leave all your worries behind.
Forced to carry his own cross while we drive nails in his coffin. You might say it is routine. It happens far too often. Decorated soldier, veteran of the war. Who would have thought that he would be among the sick and poor? Preacher man.
Welcome back to our show. Last segment of our program today. We're talking with James and Charlotte. And James, what's on your mind?
Yes, Mike. Let me just start out. I'll try and make this brief and echo one of your prior callers. I, too, had made an effort to try and convince some people I know not to have this COVID-19 vaccine injected into their body. And I can only describe my efforts in one word: unsuccessful.
Okay.
And I've been told by a couple of people, and not in a kindly way, to mind my own business, that they want to be protected and they're going to get their vaccine. We have a governor here in North Carolina, Roy Cooper, who I could best describe as the Gavin Newsom of the Southeast, who has talked about making this vaccine program into a military operation. I mean, seriously talked about making it into a military operation using the National Guard. I can only urge people to try and make their best effort to convince those that they want to see remaining alive to take a look at the evidence that this was a politically motivated operation to get this vaccine, both political and profit oriented.
Yes, very much
mainly.
so.
That the average time, I think, from in developing vaccine to actually get it to the point of using it is been I think something like 6 or 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think it may have been, and we've bought, I'm sure it's been longer for other types of vaccines, but to have this done in just a matter of months, I mean, just take a look at that fact alone should make you wary.
Especially given that it's a brand new technology.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, mind if I sign you off now here, because we got one more caller I would like to fit in before the end of the show. So let's switch to James in Vancouver. Hello, James. We're in a real rush here. What's on your mind? James in Vancouver.
Yeah, Michael?
There you are.
Michael.
Yes.
It's Miles from Maine. Hey, I just wanted to tell Joe, don't despair so much out there in California. You know, Mark, Tom, and I, we all, like the founding fathers, we agree and disagree, and we have, everybody has their own viewpoints. I mean, I think, honestly, you should concern yourself more with what Layla's going to approve your reading with. And to Layla, I hope she has a nice vacation. She deserves it.
Okay.
And, Michael, I'm going to leave you with this. I don't understand what the impeachment's about, because MAGA is just an idea, right?
Well, the whole goal of the impeachment is to damage Trump so he can't run again in 2024. But they're going to fall flat on their face on this one because they don't have the votes.
I know that, but MAGA is just an idea, right?
Okay, but yes, it is. Miles, I got to let you go. The music is playing. The show is over. Please stay tuned for John Stedmiller. Steve Elkins is joining him, sharing the microphone tonight. I'm sure they got lots of interesting things to share with you. Please spread the word of Republic Broadcasting. Spread the word of whatreallyhappened.com. Please donate. And we'll be back tomorrow. Aloha, America.